Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome to what is a speed run, a 565 5-star Scarlet Witch classic speed run. This includes the synergy, which if you've seen my previous video on, we've been kind of dissecting a little bit. So this is an 8-minute 49-second speed run with a 565, and I'm just gonna talk what's going on screen, especially because this is a very kind of RNG champion, especially with the synergy and extra applications. So you're gonna see some insane amount of damage. I gotta be honest, I think I could have done this quicker, and we've got a little timer in the bottom left hand corner, just kind of follow everything. But this is kind of just there's no kind of edits here. It's just a full kind of speed run. Something to mention: suicide masteries that are on Scarlet Witch. That's the first thing. Second thing is that there's no boosts that have been put in here, and that's really something to mention. As said, to RNG, 561,000 damage right there. And this, as I said, follows on from a video I posted. So the first video would go out, I think, about 6 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. PST. This one I'll probably follow on about an hour later. So you would have seen this, and yeah, this is very much an exhibition type thing. I do plan in some content to use this, but I think it needs more of a dissection as to where this kind of synergy can be applied to. Because look, if you get as lucky as that, then you can't use it in Abyss and Labyrinth because of the damage restrictions on that one, which is kind of a bit sad, but it is what it is. And I do plan to kind of maybe use the synergy elsewhere. And you do need the champions of certain content like X7. You need all the champions at 5-star rarity and upwards. If there's a 6-star version of Scarlet Witch, I probably will try the synergy out again. But I also went on to the I searched up on YouTube because I wanted to see does anybody do 5-star speed runs anymore? And I don't think people do. People would tend to do see the 6-star versions. So I've seen there's definitely ones by Seaturn, Slayer of Gods, Buddy Lee, Nick136, who have done ones for, Nick's done one for Kitty Pride. There's also been one with Buddy Lee, and that's a 565. But I think this might break the record potentially of the quickest to kind of get Realm of Legends done. So yes, this is an 8-minute 49 speed run. You can see we're up to, by the way, there are things that go wrong, and I think that's going to be important to, I reckon a smooth run, I reckon, if in the hands of MSD, probably, if he had, maybe kind of he would get, I don't know, lower than this one. But I don't know, I kind of hit some troubles, especially because I got a bit flustered with the RNG not going my way. You're going to see that in a moment. Yeah, I mean, look, 2 minute 50 now. We're kind of we're kind of taking down Storm's health quite nicely. We're up to Storms. That's a good thing. I like that. And 7 prowess. And then 273k right there. Also, I didn't get much. I get a little bit of regen here and there, which is going to be important, and something to mention that I should have waited around a little bit on that. But you can also heal up your champion a little bit, and that's something I did. I did try to add a little bit more health into my Scarlet Witch towards the end of it. That's just to be safe. A little bit of lag here and there. Lots of dropped input issues the further I got into Realm of Legends, and AI being wonky as anything. But then that's the usual thing. You go through times where the first 3 fights, AI fantastic, but then the last kind of there's a point where the AI is just terrible, and at points where it didn't. When I did some panic swiping when I wasn't getting my RNG. Is it this fight? I think it's the Vision fight. I was just struggling to get any kind of crits, and it was going things I don't want to tick over to my SP3s. Yes, it saves me on health for recoil damage that I do with the SP2, but at the same time, it's not great in the grand scheme of things for the pace, because that's the one big thing. It's I need to be quite pacey. And that's good, and I get the regen up, and that's fantastic. I get the stun as well, which means I can be a little bit more aggressive with this. I hit an SP1, which I shouldn't have done. I think I missed time to hit my SP2 right there. But again, these things happen. I can't really kind of say that it's going to be a smooth run when you're kind of flapping and panicking, and they're seeing basic attacks and going, God damn it, that's annoying that it wasn't a crit. But then some things are absolutely amazing. You're going to see 700k crits that actually kind of take down all of the damage, which is more than I think than the damage allotted for a Realm of Legends fight. But yeah, stuff like that. That's still nice to see. But yeah, as I said, there's no edits right here. Let's just go straight into it. We're halfway through the video with 4 minutes left to go on this. I think my problems start coming in towards the Black Bolt fight. mistakes start happening with it. But there's some nice build up to this, and especially when I've done like quick takedowns, which you've probably seen so far, there's like, again, like it's really kind of like, it's so satisfying. There, dropped input, nothing you can do about it. It is what it is with the game. And the second dropped input, but go into that SP2 right there to kind of like down the champion by 500k health nearly, and follow up with an SP1 to KO. You know, that again made me feel a little bit better, a little bit more confident, kind of going into some of these kind of like little fights right here. And I'm just playing, like, it comes to a point where I'm seeing the time and going, this is really good timing, keep it up, keep it up. And I'm kind of, you know, when you're kind of like pressurizing yourself to like get a good time with something, it just kind of like would be, it's just that the problem is I think mistakes then happen. But 279k damage on an SP2 with Scarlet Witch, and then AI that just doesn't come at you afters, that kind of makes you a bit kind of like sad. It's a little sad there, just kind of like see like the champion, yes, a stun, getting with the SP2, and then basic. So we get these moments of kind of greatness, and I'm like, hell yeah, and then there's moments of like, oh no. And then there's moments like, okay, do I do kind of like quick intercepts? And I don't trust the AI. That's one thing that I may be kind of not too aggressive with my intercepts, and kind of like looking to kind of like build on aggressive play. It's just that I can't trust the AI nowadays, and because I'm getting issues with inputs, I kind of feel like I need to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry, which is kind of like taking away that I don't know what would you call it, like pro player mentality away from me. So again, like I just go back to a more kind of standard parry and then kind of aggressive brawler play, which I think works for this champion to a degree, because you are kind of playing towards the stuns, and the more kind of like the way that you, well, I don't know, it's just the AI. I just can't trust the AI. I think that's kind of like my problem. It's kind of going like, okay, well, how is it functioning? You get lucky there, loads of buffs, boom, and now that'll do 500k damage, right? You know, that saved a bit of time. We're now coming close to 7 minutes with 2 more fights left, and this is where I kind of like I start seeing my my issues come in a little bit, where I start to have a little bit of a panic on because I'm not getting any crits, and I'm again being very cautious here about the way that the enemy AI is kind of like moving at me, and it's just a bit too kind of like, it's not kind of aggressive. I'm seeing low, I'm not seeing any kind of prowess pop up. I'm kind of feeling a little bit anxious because we're down at 14% health, and I've not seen any regen buff come up. So this is where the kind of limitations of this particular exhibition can be seen, because then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do some SP3s because that's that. I too early on the tap. This again, as I said, this is when, you know, the cracks start to show. Good, I'm using SP3s. It's limiting my health loss, but you know, as I said, like, yeah, I'm not going out against a stun. So there's questions that I need to kind of like ask about myself if I kind of do something like this again, as to like whether or not I could achieve something similar. And again, doing an SP2 like that with 9 prowess, only getting myself a kind of like a low like basic type SP damage was a little bit concerning, I'm not gonna lie. And now it kind of like derailed me a little bit, slowed things down. But getting a stun, getting a nice SP2 with 55k, not the crit, kind of gave me risks. It made me feel kind of like a bit scary. So what I did was I did kind of quickly regen Scarlet Witch in order to make sure she was safe going into this. And what you're going to see is like, this is the saving grace with it, and a few mistakes here and there, but again, as I said, this is the jittery moment, because I'm kind of like, I'm having a little bit of a jitter, where I'm having a bit of a mare when it comes to this particular section. But you know, there's always stuff like this that happens